Prayer isn't a magic formula. It's not about always getting what you want. But if you have faith, prayer works. Jesus said, have faith and ask. Prayer works. Good morning and welcome to the 755 Live. For about 5 minutes, you'll hear all about easy to remember soundbite versions of what Jesus said. The point is to help you experience life to the fullest the Jesus way. Today's Jesus said comes from Matthew chapter 21, verses 21 through 22, and John chapter 15, verses 7. But we're going to start with verse 18 of Matthew chapter 21, just to give a little bit of context. So starting in 18 of 21, it says, "Now early in the morning, as he returned to the city, he was hungry, he being Jesus. And after noticing a fig tree by the road, he went to it, but found nothing on it except leaves. He said to it, 'Never again will there be fruit from you.' And the fig tree withered at once. When the disciples saw it, they were amazed, saying, 'How did the fig tree wither so quickly?'" I'm with those guys. I mean, if I would have seen Jesus just go up to a tree and basically not curse it, but, tell it was never going to do what it was supposed to do, I'd be like, that's crazy. I mean, I'm just saying. I completely understand that. How did he do that? That'd be crazy to see. But then Jesus answered them. He says in verse 21, "I tell you the truth. If you have faith and do not doubt, not only will you do what was done to this fig tree, but even if you say to this mountain, 'Be lifted up and thrown into the sea,' it will happen. And whatever you ask in prayer, if you believe, you will receive." And then in John chapter 15, verse 7, it says, "If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you want and it will be done for you." So faith isn't a magic formula. Jesus said, have faith and ask. And, he talks about that prayer works. So these two passages might not at first seem related. It's talking about like mountains and all these different things. And we all have those in our lives. These struggles maybe, or just trials, or just crazy situations that we get into. And we're like, God, I need you to help me to move this mountain. I need your help to do this. And, sometimes it doesn't seem like they're going to move. But Jesus is saying that we can pray that, we can do that. But the faith and the prayer, it isn't a magic formula. It's a foundation that builds on that relationship with God. Sometimes when we pray, we might not see immediate results, and that can bring doubt, that can bring questions. Did I do it right? Maybe I just don't have enough faith. But faith is a gift of the Spirit. In 1 Corinthians 12, it talks about that, and faithfulness is part of that fruit of the Spirit. So how can we have more faith? And how can we have our prayers answered? Well, let's go to John chapter 15, verses 4 through 8. It says, "Remain in me, and I will remain in you. Just as the branch cannot bear fruit by itself, unless it remains in the vine, so neither can you, unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. The one who remains in me, and I in him, bears much fruit, because apart from me, you can accomplish nothing. If anyone does not remain in me, he is thrown out like a branch and dries up, and such branches are gathered up and thrown into the fire and are burned up. But if you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you want, and it will be done for you. My Father is honored by this, that you bear much fruit and show that you are my example." Prayer doesn't change God, but what it does change is us. It changes how we see things. I like that. I'm looking at this. It says, "If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you want." But I think there, it's that like if then statement. If you remain in me, if you stay where you need to be in your word, in his word, in worship, in praise of who he is, then you can ask whatever you want and it will be done for you. But, I remember when I was young, I would read this and I was like, okay, so then I can ask for $1 million. I'm going to get it. No, that's not what it's saying. What it's saying here is when you remain in Jesus, when you remain in his word, and you stay there constantly trying to get closer to him, you're going to see how it changes you. Prayer is going to change. What you want is going to change. Everything about your life is going to change. And as you get closer to God, then your desire and your willingness to have his kingdom come, his will be done, starts to change of what your prayers are. Because then instead of your prayers being selfish and maybe self-seeking, they become more selfless and generous. And it's like, God, okay, help me to be greater for your kingdom, or help something in your kingdom, or help somebody, all these different things. You'll start to see that those are what your prayers are. It's no longer going to be that selfish desire, but as you get closer to him, your desires get closer to his. So then your prayers get answered because they're not prayers that you would normally have. Your prayers become more like Jesus. And you'll start to see that as you get closer to him, those mountains are going to move when you ask him to help them move, because that's his desire for you. But it takes that step of having faith and building that faith and remaining in him. So have faith and ask. Prayer works. That's what Jesus said. How can you put that into action today? What's something that you need to have moved in your life, or something that you've been praying for? And then ask yourself the question, am I remaining in Jesus? Am I asking him if this is what he wants? Am I asking something that's just for me, that's selfish? And, maybe take a look at that and then ask God, okay, how can I be more like you? What can I be asking for that's more in line with your kingdom and your will? But thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, please like, comment, and share. If you want to read along with us, it is at bible.today.church. We try to do everything together, so that's just a way you can follow along with us. I really appreciate you. I hope you have an amazing day. I hope this time together has helped you live life to the fullest, the Jesus way. We always end everything by saying to remember to follow Jesus today and love first. Thank you, guys.